It was just after 10 p.m. on a Viking cruise. I was chatting with the cruise director, nothing out of the ordinary, when suddenly, a soft announcement crackled over the loudspeaker. She didn't respond. She ran. And I mean bolted to the back of the ship like she was chasing an ice cream cone in July. Turns out, the bridge had spotted a man collapsing near the infinity pool on the ship's CCTV. And that quiet announcement, it was code. A discreet call to action. That's when it hit me. There are things happening on cruise ships, systems, signs, symbols that we're all surrounded by, but never notice. Today I'm pulling back the curtain. These are the hidden features, secret designs, and clever cruise tricks that are staring us right in the face. And yet most of us have no idea they're even there. Let's start with that CCTV camera. There's not just one. There are hundreds of them, tucked into ceilings, corners, lounges, and gym walls. On Queen Mary 2, I counted 8 just in the fitness center. They're not there to make you feel paranoid. They're there to keep you safe. In the case of that late-night swimmer, they saved his life, and it goes deeper than security footage. Modern cruise ships now use facial recognition technology. The picture they take at check-in, that's not just for ID verification, it's how they track your comings and goings. Some ships now identify you at photo galleries using that single snapshot. No need to dig through stacks of prints, just enter your cabin number and voila, there's your face. Spooky? Maybe. Convenient? Absolutely. And next time you think no one saw you sneak that 4th cookie, think again. Ever noticed odd shapes painted on the hull of your cruise ship? Little key-shaped marks, C-shaped emblems, numbers running up from the waterline? They're not just nautical graffiti, they all have a purpose. That key shape marks where the stabilizers are. Giant fins that pop out under the ship to reduce motion in rough seas. The C with a vertical line indicates the bulbous bow, a rounded underwater extension that makes the ship slice through waves more efficiently. The cross in a circle? That's the bow thruster, used to maneuver the ship sideways when docking. And those numbers descending into the water? That's the draft scale, showing how deep the ship sits, depending on weight and fuel. It's basically a floating cheat sheet for tugboat captains and nosy passengers like me. One thing I noticed early in my cruising days, the ropes tying the ship to the dock often have big wooden discs on them. I always thought it was decorative. Nope, they're rat guards. These go way back to the sailing days, when rats would board ships via mooring lines, bringing disease, chewing through cargo, and in places like South Georgia Island, wiping out entire bird populations. On my Antarctica cruise with Ponant, they told us those rats introduced by whalers did so much damage to bird life, it cost millions of dollars to fix, all from skipping something as simple as a wooden disc. So yeah, let's give a little more credit to the humble rat guard. You've seen the crew-only signs. You've walked past the blank white areas on deck plans. You might have noticed the missing lower decks. But what's behind those spaces? A hidden ship. A second, fully functioning world completely separate from the one passenger's sea. We're talking about an entire below-deck operation. Cabins, gyms, dining halls, lounges, and even pools. All just for the crew. On ultra-luxury lines like Seabourn, the crew-to-passenger ratio is almost 1-to-1. On megaships like Royal Caribbean's Oasis class, up to 2,000 crew members live in this secret city. There's even a nickname for the central hallway running through it all, the I-95 in American ships, or the M1 on British lines. It's a massive artery used for moving food, supplies, and staff efficiently. So while we're out sipping pina coladas, they're operating an entire vessel beneath our feet, and we hardly know it's there. Cruise ships are like floating museums, but many of the most interesting details are hidden in plain sight. On Queen Mary 2, there's a Homer Simpson etched into an Art Deco panel. Sir Samuel's Coffee Shop, named after Cunard's founder. The nightclub, G32, the ship's hull ID during construction, before it got its official name. Even those funky sculptures on the bow, spare propeller blades, art with a backup plan. Cruise designers love these little nods, inside jokes, references, tributes, all waiting to be discovered. Next time you're wandering the ship, ask a crew member what details most guests miss. You'll get a story, and maybe even a new appreciation for that weird statue by the elevator. You can't miss a ship's funnel, the giant exhaust stack rising above it all. But you can miss what it's actually for. Yes, it vents smoke and heat, but mostly, it's marketing. In the early 1900s, some cruise lines added fake funnels, just to look more powerful. Today, funnels are designed to be bold and distinct. Carnival's winged funnel, Celebrity's X, Holland America's oval. They help ships stand out at sea and serve as floating billboards, visible from miles away. They're often way bigger than they need to be. That's why ships like Disney Wish use funnel space for luxury suites, and Carnival Miracle has a restaurant built into one. Next time you spot a ship in the distance, just look at the funnel. It's the cruise line's version of wearing a giant neon hat. Ever noticed how the main dining room is always way at the back, and the theater is all the way up front? That's no accident. It's retail psychology, with a splash of ocean breeze. Cruise ships are designed like floating malls. To get from dinner to the show, or vice versa, you're routed through the casino, past the art gallery, down the hallway of duty-free shops, and right by a bar or two. It's all strategic. They want you lingering, wandering, maybe buying that souvenir bracelet you definitely didn't need before dinner, but now, well, maybe the grandkids would like one. Once you realize it, you can't unsee it. So stay sharp, or you'll end up buying a $200 print of a pineapple in sunglasses. Let's talk pools. Everyone loves a cruise pool. But if you've ever looked around and thought, wait, is this it? You're not alone. Cruise ship pools are tiny for a reason. Water is heavy, like really heavy. Even a modest pool adds over 250,000 pounds to the top of the ship, and that messes with stability. To fix that, pools are placed midship, dead center. Not because it's scenic, but because it's safe. You'll also notice they often have shallow edges to make them look bigger. Optical illusions at sea, folks. And when it gets rough, they drain the pool. Not to ruin your sunbathing, but to stop the ship from sloshing side to side like a floating punch bowl. Next time you're wondering why you can't swim during a windy afternoon, just know it's for balance, not beachy vibes. Somewhere on your cruise ship, likely on the bow or upper deck, is a massive yellow dot or a giant H. That's not a landing zone for drones. It's a hidden helipad for emergency medical evacuations. You might never see it unless you're on a sail-away party or get invited up front or watch very closely during a deck walk. But every modern cruise ship has one. It's not just functional, it's critical. If someone needs to be airlifted to shore, that's where it happens. So if you're ever walking the upper deck and see a weird open space with nothing on it, you've found it. The ship's most low-key, life-saving feature. Ever gotten turned around on a cruise ship? Of course you have. They're basically giant floating mazes, with better cocktails. But here's a secret hiding in plain sight. Your cabin number is a compass. Even numbers, port side, left. Odd numbers, starboard side, right. Numbers go up as you head to the back of the ship, and down when heading to the front. Some lines go even further. Norwegian Cruise Line's carpets have fish printed on them, and those fish are always swimming forward. If the fish are swimming toward you, turn around. Royal Caribbean has little ship icons on their cabin signs pointing toward the bow. Subtle? Sure. But for directionally challenged folks like me and my mother-in-law, it saved more than a few laps around Deck 8. Remember the funnel? That giant smokestack on top of the ship? It's easy to think it's purely functional, but cruise lines aren't just venting engine exhaust. They're marketing to the horizon. Carnival's Whale Tail, Celebrity's iconic X, Disney's red and black twin stacks. They're designed to make each ship recognizable. From miles away, it's branding at its best. Floating logos you can spot from the beach bar. And the wildest part? They're mostly empty inside. There's so much unused space. Some lines now put suites, lounges, and even restaurants inside them. Talk about living inside the logo. Cruise ships are marvels of engineering, but they're also full of clever tricks, hidden features, and design choices that shape our experience, without us ever knowing. From facial recognition and pool placement, to sneaky shopping routes and helipads hiding in plain sight. There's so much more going on than meets the eye. So next time you board, take a closer look. You'll start seeing the ship differently, and maybe impress a few fellow cruisers along the way.